Right, here we go. It's not very often that a glass designer or a glass artist gets an opportunity to address an audience, and all thanks to Sheetal. You've been very kind. She's got me to the forum over here to speak on glass, which is not really revered as it should have really been over the years, but Sheetal saw somewhere along the line that there is going to be something good that's going to come out of glass, from my side at least. So she said, okay, let me just give you a chance and you can come here and speak about your work. And so here I am. Glass is one of the most misunderstood products or objects or materials in the world in terms of art. The reason I'm saying this is because we have perceptions about what float glass is all about. I'm not going to get into the technicalities of it, but what float glass is all about, and what crystal is all about, and what's blown glass all about, and what's cast glass all about. So these are various, hang on a minute, I'm just trying to struggle here with my, okay. Yeah, to take a leaf out of Chitra's presentation, Chitra, thank God the kitchens are still there, otherwise Ekta Kapoor would have been out of business for sure. All our Sasbo serials come out of kitchens, and we need kitchens for sure. My company, just to do a bit of marketing here, for my company, we've been in business for 30 years now. We've rechristened our name as Studio Cast Glass since 2015, early 2015. Majorly into the luxury segment of glass, what glass art is all about, what's the application of glass art in interiors, in hotel industry, in corporate sectors, in corporate atrium sculptures and so on and so forth. And this is Kayur Patel who's speaking to you. I head the design team. Because these guys have no other choice. Since I own the company, I head it. Had it had a choice, they would have thrown me out first. Now, we create bespoke glass, which is various methods of glass that we take on in our approach to glass for applications in interiors and bathrooms. So for the kind of bathrooms that Jayesh designs, he'll never give me a job ever on any of his sites. Because it's all very plain, simple, straight, and I do a lot of work, a lot of design on my glass. That's where my money comes out of from. So I guess that's what I do. Now here, this one is a bathroom that's purely all glass. It's all the walls are glass. And also the shower tower that I had built, I had to build one because there was no wall that I could get the spout out from. And the brief I was given by the client here was she wanted something very dramatic. And she gave me the keys to the apartment and went away to America for 3 months, and said, once I come back, I really want to see something very dramatic. And that was the onus was on me to create something very dramatic. Could be completely out of the hat, could be completely OTT, over the board, over the top. But she was very happy, and as I was once told by a very senior interior designer that, when I asked him about one of my projects as to how do you like this, sir? And he said, forget about me, is your client very happy? I said, yeah, I have reasons to believe that she is very happy. I said, forget about it, that's the best. Then you've succeeded. Don't worry about what other people are going to talk about your product or your project or your designing, because no two people are ever going to think alike for a particular design. There's always going to be difference of opinion, but if your client is happy, she's paid you money for it, you go on with it. That's how this really works. So here I've used a lot of stack glass, vertical stack glass. Even the shower floor is glass discs that I have laid up, very firmly joined with polyester resin so that it doesn't leak through. And the entire box was created in black color, and I just played with glass and light. And glass is completely dead if it's not lit intelligently. I think you really require very smart and sharp lighting and creative lighting to enhance glass. Otherwise it just doesn't work at all. That's another image of another side of the same button. That time, this image is almost about 18 years ago is what I'd done this. And that time wash basin bowls were in fashion, and it was something new that nobody had heard of. Wash basin bowls and glass. And much later, they were flooded into the market thanks to China. And of course our own fraternity of glass manufacturers here. That it came into fashion, and it soon went out of it as well, because it was just so flooded that nobody wanted to touch it with a barge bowl after that. So before it got out of fashion, I got out of that glass bowl business, totally. This project had value engineering, trust me. This had and I'm an automobile engineer basically who's become a glass artist or a glass designer per se. So engineering comes to me quite naturally, much before my designing takes over from me. And hence a lot of, the water leakage, there's electrocution, a lot of other factors that have to be factored in, and I have to take care of those so that one doesn't come across these situations and circumstances. And I think I pretty much succeeded in achieving whatever I had to in here. Now these are shower screens. Most of you people must have seen these kind of shower screens. These are some very old images I had with me. In fact, these days not too many bathrooms are designed with such design orientation in screens and shower curtains and so on and so forth. And with Jayesh, I'm soon going to get out of business. He's not going to use any of my glass. Jayesh, don't do this to me. Seriously. Yeah, some more images of what shower cubicles can be all about and shower screens can be all about. These designs are very passe, they've been pretty old. If I were to redo this again, I would treat it completely differently. At my end, we have a facility where we cast our glass, we melt our glass and work on temperatures of 1,500 degrees centigrade. I melt my glass and I work. I've got to wear my protective gear and mold the glass, cast the glass. Very often I have a perception when I start to work on glass that, okay, this is what I want the glass to look like eventually, but it doesn't happen so. Glass has its own mind. It's like a very small child when it is extremely hot at temperatures of 1,000 degrees centigrade. It starts running around, it's very sticky, it's very muggy, and if it sticks to the mold, it just doesn't come out from there. And very often what happens is, there's a parlance in the glass designing world which is known as crisis glass. And that means that every artist who's really imagined a particular piece of glass to come out of the kiln the way he's imagined it to be, it never happens. Invariably, or most of the times, the glass breaks into the mold in the kiln because the artist is either pushed it beyond its limit or whatever. And then whatever he can salvage or she can salvage out of that broken project is what crisis glass is all about. And most of my work that sell in the market basically are my broken pieces of glass that I've been able to salvage more than my real pieces of glass that have worked very well. And here, this is a home or residence bathroom in Bangalore, owned by one Mr. Mantri. And I've done the entire glass on the left-hand side, to my left from here. That's a fabric screen glass that I've created as a division between the bedroom and the bathroom area. The very minimal usage of glass in that sense for bathrooms, though. Jayesh has covered most of them in plain glass and toughened glass doors and things like that. Now these are wash basin bowls and the console that are... Now, most of these photographs that you're seeing are almost 15, 18, 16 years old. That long back when I've done this. This is a very interesting piece of glass wall I created, which had metal, stone, everything happening in there. It almost looked like rocks, but they are basically cast glass. They were at places 4 inches thick, and at certain other places 2 inches thick. And there were 16 of these tiles that I created. Now this is the flooring that I've done for a bathroom. Pretty fancy, but that's how clients want it. Very often, most of our designs are driven by clients as what their likes are all about, and what they prefer and what they'd like. And there's very little choice that we have that we can give on to the clients. And of course, interior designers also are somebody we need to really keep in mind as to what they want, keeping and understanding their language that they've really designed their homes with or the spaces with. And we need to either flow with that or give it a knee jerk and get away from there and do something else completely different. But then there's always a school of thought that you need to go with the flow, so we go with the flow. And that's where the payments come out from. Now this is where the architectural glass installations come in. These are cast glass. This is what I was talking about, working on the kiln, firing the glass and working and melting it and things like that. This is my installation at the new Terminal T2, the Bombay Airport. There's a small story behind this. The title of the sculpture, the entire installation is known as Fire and Ice. And the brief given to me was, they bought these very old antique lamps from all over the country, and they wanted it to be trapped. They wanted those lamps to be trapped within a cube of ice. And they were looking for somebody who could make them glass look like ice. And that is what my job was as an artist. And I pretty much managed to give them what they wanted. And hence this got commissioned over here. But it was a labor of love and a lot of back and forth and a lot of decisions going back and forth. As much as glamorous as it sounds it to be, but let me tell you, the underbelly was pretty dark. There's not something, and we can talk about that over some drinks after this session gets over, as to dark the underbelly was, of dealing with specific companies when it comes to art per se. Artists are very simple people, they don't believe in contracts, they can't read contracts, so a lot of them had to face a lot of flack. Yeah, this is what the lamp is seeing through the glass that has the undulation on the top. This is a glass staircase I created for a client, the same gentleman, Mr. Mantri. He seemed to have fallen in love with my work. And he'd given me the empty well, a complete empty space of 2.5 floors, and I created this metal superstructure and clad it with glass. Almost 3,75,000 pieces of glass went into cladding of this entire staircase here. This is a screen, a glass screen that I have created. Now this is pure engineering. These rings are not, they are hand drawn. They're not particularly, they're not perfect circles, and they're not even stuck together. They're purely engineered to be held together one to the other. If I remove any one, all of them are going to come crumbling down, all of them. So there is a lot of value engineering. Now this is a screen that I've done for the same restaurant, which is in Powai, which is known as, the hotel is known as Melua, and the restaurant is The Fern, owned by Niranjan Hiranandani. And when I first put the screen up, this is one of the first things that went to the site. The site was pretty barren by the time, and I get a call from Niranjan and Kamal the next morning, Kamal, his wife, and she says, Kayur, where is the wow factor? I said, wow factor, this is so good. She says, no, I've given you the job, Kayur, I want some wow factor in this. I said, Kamal, hang on, this is really very nice. And because this was the only thing that really had been put up at site by then. And finally when everything got ready, they almost decided to knock this off, trust me. They wanted to replace it with some sort of a mirror and some sort of other partition. I said, don't do this, you're jumping from the frying pan to the fire. Don't do this. And thankfully they listened to me, and eventually Niranjan did send me an email, and I followed with a call afterwards, and thank God we listened to you. It was really a wonderful job done. So that's a saving grace. This is one of the other partitions I've done very long back for a corporate office, Bajaj in Nariman Point. Now this is bas relief. Now this glass has basically gone to the kiln, and we have a certain mold which has got a design on it in relief, and the glass is laid flat on the mold. And when you take it to a specific temperature, that's where the tricky thing happens. Glass can even crack at that stage. But if you leave it at a particular temperature and allow it to soak it for a particular time, then you get this kind of a detailing onto glass. It's a little difficult to handle this afterwards, but yeah, we've been able to do that because of our experience. This is a home where I've done, it's a pretty simple, straight home, no colors except for the glass wall that you see in the back, which had very bright colors, because that's what was required. Otherwise the home had no other colors happening over there. And these were cast glass tiles that I'd done. Unfortunately, let me tell you this, in our country, which is only about 60 years of age, or a little more than that, there is just no glass available that one wants to work on. I have to create my own glass to then go ahead and design glass. There's nothing like Murano, or nothing like Czechoslovakia or America, where they've got studios who run a 50 gram or a 1 kilo color sample for an artist or a studio. They're so much more supportive for the art studios. It doesn't happen over here. Yeah, I have to backward integrate everything. I first have to make my glass and then go ahead and think about designing it. And I've used all sorts of glasses. I've used marbles, I've used drinking glasses, I've used water bottles, I've used perfume bottles. Anything that I could lay my hands on that was glass, I've tried melting it. I've tried melting it with copper, with brass. I've had some amazing results that have come out of those experiments. It really works though. This is a mirror wall it's a feature wall for a residence that I had created in South Bombay. And it's only pure mirror, just brown mirror, but it's very raised, it's very embossed, the entire design. One of the feature walls that I created. These are 20 feet tall, 3 partition, the panels basically, not partition, the panels on the wall of a lift lobby area in Worli. It's a new building that's come up, Century International, and that's where we've done.